Hey, so I spent the last year or so of my career thinking, is becoming a CMO actually what I want for my life or for my career? This chat is for all of us, and I'm talking to millennials and Gen Z who are tired of hearing that we have to work our butts off and work our fingers to the bone to get to the top. You've most likely seen your leadership folks work long ass hours, get stressed out, and maybe even burnt the hell out. And 9 times out of 10, the pathway to leadership more than likely looks like being tired all the time instead of actually being happy with the job that you're doing. Today, I'm going to tell you why it's totally fine and probably even a good idea for a lot of us to skip that corporate ladder completely. We'll talk about how your happiness and actually doing work that means something can define how you view success for your career. You'll learn about 5 big reasons why we're actually changing the rules of work. You'll also walk away from this conversation feeling a little bit more in control of your own career path. And by the end of this talk, you'll probably look at success in a whole new way. And it's not what we've been taught all our lives to believe. I'm deviating a little bit from my usual content because this is something that's been on my heart to talk about for a while. So here we go. Number 1, the definition of success is actually changing. For a long ass time, the definition of success, especially in our careers, was about climbing the corporate ladder. But what if that definition is completely outdated? I mean, think about it, right? Career progression was usually associated with upward mobility. You get the promotions, you get the title, you get the money, and you get the power, but first of all, getting a promotion nowadays is hard as hell. You could be in a job that you somewhat like, putting in the work, putting in the hours, and thinking that you're headed in the right direction for a promotion, but the goal line for that promotion keeps getting pushed further and further away. Not to mention that nowadays people aren't retiring, so you still have boomers working, and it doesn't seem like Gen Xers are going to be retiring at 65, right? But for Gen Z and millennials like myself, the script is kind of flipped, right? The idea of upward mobility has kind of seemed a little bit more far-fetched and way more out of reach. Success isn't about the corporate hierarchy anymore. It's about the impact that you make, your purpose, how you show up at work as your authentic self. And also, success is measured in meaningful work for us. It's clear that flashy titles at work don't dictate success for us anymore. And honestly, it all might be for show. Think about content creators or product marketing managers, product managers, right? These are folks that drive real change for companies without having these fancy leadership titles. And then the second thing is that we're starting to put our well-being and work-life balance first. There's definitely a hidden cost to having these leadership titles, right? And for me, in my personal opinion, that's your mental health. Leadership roles might come with bigger pay, but they also come with longer hours, higher stress levels, which all in all can cause a huge impact on your mental health. But there's one thing about us millennials and Gen Z folks, we prioritize mental health, work-life balance. We're not sacrificing none of that for anybody. We're the generations that absolutely refuse to let our jobs stress us the F out and burn us out to the point where we can't even show up as our full selves for our families. Get this. So I did a little research on Perplexity to find out what the data was for this particular topic. And over 50% of Gen Zs refuse and completely avoid management roles on purpose, right? With 70% of those people seeing those high title roles as high stress and low reward. I mean, honestly, this data doesn't surprise me at all. We see how these leadership roles can be detrimental for people, and we just don't want any parts of them, right? Imagine a senior exec, right? They have this team of 50 people and they're always glued to their phone. I mean, 24/7 glued to their phone. versus an individual contributor who closes that laptop at 5 p.m. and goes home to their family and doesn't even think about their email or their Slack messages or any of that until the next day at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's apparent that our generations would rather not be tied down to our phones and our emails. We want to spend time with our families, go to events for our children, and just be off the clock and actually clock out, like check out from the day-to-day work runaround that we have to do anyway. And honestly, like, this isn't about laziness. Like, this is about people valuing our mental health and our well-being and our families first. Like, we're putting those things first. Next up, let's talk about the fact that middle management isn't really held in the best light. Is middle management a thankless position? Many of us in these generations do see middle management as like this thankless position where you're working long hours and you're not getting rewards for the work that you put in. And I'm sure we have all seen our parents and loved ones getting caught up in like this middle management cycle, and they also get caught up in corporate restructurings and get laid off and whatnot, right? On top of that, we see a lot of these people that are in these roles getting burned out, and that sucks. Like, that doesn't make me or anyone else that's a millennial or Gen Z want to participate in a middle management role. And as an early millennial myself, someone who's in their late 30s, like, I've been in a middle management role where I've been caught up in a layoff. And I talk about my layoff story all the time on this channel. And it's like, how the hell am I supposed to move up in my career, right? Like, how am I supposed to get to the next level if my role and where I'm at right now in my career is seen as completely unnecessary and a throwaway role for these companies? Like, it's impossible. And to be honest, like, the middle manager role is a sandwich role, right? It's stuffed in between what your executives want and what your team members need, right? And honestly, when you're being pulled in those two different directions, like, that can feel really uncomfortable. And honestly, for millennials and Gen Z, like, this fuels a hesitancy to take on these kind of roles. We're thinking to ourselves nowadays, like, why should we sign up for a role that's this high risk, right? Like, it's getting cut at any second of the day because companies don't see the value in a middle manager. Like, why would we take on these roles with this high risk and low reward, right? Especially when you can kind of chill out and coast as an individual contributor without having that risk. I mean, tell me what you think. Like, have you seen this in your own companies that you've worked for in the past or where you're working right now? Because I definitely have. And number 4, there's a lack of role models in these roles, and there's a lack of opportunities to actually get into those roles. No BS, but where are the leaders? Where are the leaders that we actually want to be? It's stagnant at the top, right? Like, and this is partially due to older generations not retiring from their roles. And unfortunately, this creates fewer opportunities for advancement. And then there are fewer examples of pathways to actually get into leadership. And honestly, I don't think I've personally seen a person get promoted to a senior level position without some sacrifice to their happiness or their personal well-being. So let's look at it this way, right? Like, imagine being on an elevator, like a packed elevator, and nobody gets off at the higher floors. Like, nobody. And you see those doors open and the elevator is packed. So why would you even try to get in? It's crowded as hell and there's no chance to move up. What's real from my perspective is that companies aren't creating like these clear and attractive pathways to get to leadership positions, right? Like, they're not granting us those opportunities or training us up to get there. But generations before us were granted those opportunities, right? And they were given those pathways into leadership. Whereas nowadays, for millennials and Gen Z folks, we're met with roadblocks most of the time. And then there's a bit of skepticism about culture at a lot of these companies. We have to ask ourselves this question, like, are these companies truly aligned with our values, right? Like, our morals, our values, and things that we care about. Like, given the state of the current job market and like these broader social issues, and the fact that companies don't value people anymore, like they lay them off at the drop of a hat, and our desire to not be a part of systems that we see as harmful, these things contribute to our hesitancy to pursue like these higher up positions, right? Younger generations want to work for companies that reflect our values and our morals, not just our ambitions and our goals. I mean, let's face it, right? People nowadays want to buy from companies that actually do good in the world, right? Like they value people. This means that they want businesses to be fair and also be helpful to the world. If we care about these things when we buy from these companies, then why wouldn't we care about them when we pick our jobs, right? And if this system feels broken, why would we then want to be a leader within that system? And this ain't about being lazy, right? Like this is about redefining what success means to you. As a millennial or a Gen Zer, you're not saying no to these leadership positions because you don't care. You want jobs that actually mean something and that make you feel good about the work that you're doing. And you want to make a difference without feeling stressed out or getting burnt the hell out, right? And only a few of us, and based on Perplexity, like only 6% of us really care about becoming senior exec leaders within our companies. Even though we value like learning and growing from the people around us. And a lot of us really just want to be good at one thing or lead on projects or start our own businesses, right? And I think in order to feed these desires for our generations, like companies have to be a little bit more forward thinking. They should offer jobs that are more flexible, offer more meaningful work, and actually support their employees with like education opportunities or the ability to go to conference and so on. Let me just say this, okay? It's okay for you to pick a job because it makes you happy, right? Not because it's what everyone else expects of you. It's 100% fine for you not to want to climb that corporate ladder. Like, it's okay. And it's totally fine for you to do your career on your terms, right? And if success to you means being an individual contributor for the rest of your career, do that, friend. Like, it's your world, right? The workforce is changing, period. And we have a major hand in what success in that workforce looks like. All right, friend, let's wrap this up because I know you and I both have things to do today. Given what we've talked about today, like, what has changed for you and how you view what success looks like in your career? Also, check out this video here where I talk about how I took control of my own career as an individual contributor, how I ended up landing a ton of interviews to finally get unstuck in this job market after getting rejected over and over again. And as always, thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.